SAE continues its in-depth investigation of its chapters. SAE also said the song is horrific and does not racist frat chant caught on video extend far beyond a single campus chapter. That's according to the university. And I'm live tonight in Tampa, Florida. We start with breaking news. Claims that the origins of that racist frat chant caught on video extend far beyond a single campus chapter. That's according to the University of Oklahoma president, who announced results from the school's investigation.
Was learned by chapter members at a national leadership cruise sponsored by the national organization 4 years ago. That chant was learned and brought back to the local chapter. Over time, the chant was formalized by the local chapter and was taught to pledges as part of the formal and informal pledgeship process.
It's a major new claim, suggesting the chant was more common than publicly stated. In a letter to the SAE National Fraternity, President David Barnes says, quote, "The chant was widely known and informally shared amongst members on the leadership cruise. It stands in contrast to claims made by the National Fraternity earlier this month."
From what we see, it's not a wide problem. Whenever we look at the overall picture, 235, 240 groups across the country, we're finding that an overwhelming majority of them have never heard of this, don't know anything about it, are not familiar with it.
But again, the university indicates it was widely known, at least at this leadership conference. And late today, SAE confirmed it's likely these students learned the chant on the cruise. SAE saying, quote, "The organization has no current evidence that the chant is widespread across the fraternity's 237 groups. SAE continues its in-depth investigation of its chapters. SAE also said the song is horrific and does not at all reflect our values as an organization. If we find any other examples of this kind of behavior currently occurring, we will hold our members accountable, just as we've done in Oklahoma." This is a fraternity with around 200,000 students and alumni. Today, the university president said high school students were on that bus and heard that chant, and that this is far too big an issue to ignore.
We know racism when we see it. We know when certain inappropriate words are used in our presence. We know when inappropriate stories are told in our presence. I don't think anybody here at this press conference needs to be taught about what racism is. We know it when we see it. We saw it and we reacted to it, and we've said no tolerance for it.
Joining me now are Florida State Police Chief David Perry, who is the president of the International Association of Campus Law Enforcement Administrators, and Jason Johnson, a political science professor at Hiram College. Thank you both for being here.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, Reverend Al. Glad to be here.
Chief Perry, let me go to you first. Are you surprised by the university's claim that this chant was widely known at this frat leadership conference?
So I'm not surprised. I'm really disappointed that this is going on, but not surprised at all. You know, this is a problem that this doesn't only impact campuses and colleges around the country, but it impacts many parts of our nation, unfortunately.
Jason, the school's president, in his letter, he also says, and I'm quoting from the letter, "This matter cannot be closed in our view, however, until the culture at the national level has also been addressed." Now, the school clearly believes this is a much bigger than just one chapter on a single campus, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and they should. You know, again, the issue has never been about hurt feelings or just being racist and hostile. It's about creating a hostile learning environment. You've got kids there who are legitimately concerned. You've got parents who are legitimately concerned if there's some roving band of students on my child's campus singing about lynching, I'm legitimately worried. So the school has every reason to be very aggressive about this, and I think they should be applauded for the work they and SAE have done to investigate this.
Now, Mr. Perry, the SAE spokesman a few weeks ago, when we learned about the chant, he said this. Listen.
We have every reason to believe that when they're talking about being taught the songs, it was done by somebody who was an older member of the chapter in just a 2 or 3 year period there that's passed it down and said, here's the chant that we want to teach you.
But the school now says it was taught at a leadership conference, suggesting it was widely known there. Does the national chapter need to explain further?
I think they do have to explain further. I think that it's going to take a thorough investigation, not something that they can just rush and say that it's been reviewed, but I think it's due to the university. I think they should have that done. You know, I understand that they really need that in order to start the healing process. So they should do a thorough investigation.
You know, because, Jason, in recent weeks, we've learned more about the history of this chant. A former student at Angelo State University in Texas says she heard the same song at a different frat in 1973 or 1974. Another man reports hearing it at Texas Tech in 1963. And yet another heard a similar chant at the University of Georgia in 1961. How far back does the history of this chant and chants like it go, Jason?
Well, see, Reverend, you're making an excellent point here. There's a big difference between when it was learned and where it came from. I don't care that these kids learned it on a cruise in 2011. It's the idea this has been going on for 60 years. And as a faculty member, this is always, I think, the key issue here. I've never thought it was a good idea to kick somebody out of school just because they said something bad. But you can kick them out for creating a hostile environment for other students. You can kick them out for drinking underage. And as an organization, SAE is obligated not only to the members who aren't engaging in this behavior, because most of the fraternity isn't full of a bunch of racists, but anybody else who wants to join to say, we have zero tolerance for this kind of behavior. As a private group, this is important to them and their reputation.
And you know, the thing that is very disturbing, Mr. Perry, is there were high school students, recruits that are hearing this. I mean, this is very damaging. President Warren delivered a powerful message about this issue not being isolated to the campus. Listen to this.
This is a problem in America. We've had an epidemic of racism all across our country. We can stop it if all of us, in the institutions and organizations we belong to, and all of us as individuals, say we have zero tolerance for racism in America. That's not who we are as an American people.
Very strong words there, Mr. Perry. How can universities and fraternities begin to grapple with this issue, one that touches so much of American lives?
I want to first applaud President Boren for his proactive approach to this. It took his leadership to pull that university together. And I'm telling you, after talking with some of my colleagues there, it was not a good feeling time initially when this was unfolding. But Al, it goes back to value development. We have to get back into the homes and work on the values of our youth. The imprinting, the modeling, and the socialization, somewhere in that socialization stage, they're picking up on what's wrong and what's not right. So, you know, at the end of the day, they have some bad data that's in their heads about people and how to view them.
And Jason, again, we're talking about 200,000 members and alumni with this frat. This is a lot of people, and this clearly has implications nationally. This is serious. And to see the passion out of this president of this college, at least that to me is refreshing.
Well, it's refreshing and it's responsible. This is, and I just want to be candid about the racial elements of this. This is internal policing in the white community. on racism. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing that there was somebody white on that bus who said, hey, I don't like this. This is inappropriate. It's good that a majority white institution is saying we have zero tolerance for racism. It's a good thing that a majority white fraternity is saying we have zero tolerance for racism. It's about time the conversation about race in this country didn't always have to fall on the shoulders of brown and black people, but white people themselves who are against this stand up and say, we won't tolerate this within our own community. And that is progress.
Well, that, Mr. Perry, let me pick up on that. The national fraternity says they won't tolerate it, that it doesn't represent them. What do we need to hear from them? What do they need to do? They say they're going to look into this, but what do we need to see them do about this? What do we need to see them do that would restore any level of credibility in this area?
We need a transparent investigation. We need straight talk, Reverend Al. We need them to show that they're being honest and forthcoming with the investigation. And then at the end of it, we need training. We need to see that every member has gone through some sensitivity or diversity training to show that they have really gotten this message and understand the importance of respecting others and not saying things that are so insensitive and so hurtful.
Chief David Perry and Jason Johnson, thank you both for your time this evening. Have a good weekend.
Thanks so much,
Thank you, Reverend Al. You do the same.